Morning, Ramesh.
Good morning, Sri.
How are you
It's
doing?
been a while.
Yeah, it's, we don't have to say it's been. Good morning, we'll start again. Hi, Ramesh.
Hi, Sri. How have you been?
I've been doing good. How are you? Good morning.
Doing well, good
back
morning.
to be back with a glass of coffee.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a pleasure to be here on this seat,
Yeah.
talking everything under the sun.
Yeah.
So,
So what's keeping you busy with summer coming in Chennai?
summer coming in, we have a challenge in our hands, right? We have kids. So, driving us crazy already.
Yeah.
We have to plan our vacation.
Good challenge.
And I don't know if it's good, it's certainly a challenge. But yeah, it is what it is. And the kids are growing up, they're more aware. We can't fool them by saying, hey, we'll take you to a big vacation the next year. So a lot of things are in play.
John, on a serious note, I see an amazing art from Amrita here.
Oh yeah, she's...
So what's keeping her busy? But I think thanks, Amrita, if you're watching this pod, for taking your time and getting us some beautiful art.
Yeah, she's been fascinated by our logo always, and she's generally into art. And she's been asking, hey, what's this logo all about? Like, why do you have, what's the green arrow? And then, it's, I had to tell her that, hey, this is the x-axis, this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis, and we just want to keep growing, and that's for companies.
Okay.
So, and the green is for growth, which signifies, right? And all of this thanks to our designer who also thought about this in a way, been pretty fascinated by that. So she said she'll do us a mandala, the art. So I didn't know it was called a mandala until you see the intricate flower petals in it. So
yeah, it's amazing. I think. I mean, did you ask? In fact, like you mentioned about design. Of course, we've been, to say so, have amazing design person.
Right.
Harsh. We should get him on one of our pods.
Absolutely.
Have a
The next
pod
time,
talk about how we got to the design of this logo. But did you ask her to do, or she just did?
No, I had absolutely no
didn't
idea.
ask
No, I had no idea. She's, like I said, she goes mad in a stationery shop. So she's got everything that needs, and she just picked it up and said, hey, I want to frame this for you.
Okay.
So this has been the first piece of art for our
That's great.
office.
That's great. Amazing. So great gesture to see, and wish everybody has a kid who's busy.
We'll have to wait and see how that turns out.
Let's get started. But Ramesh, one thing I want to ask you, like now that coming, we have a few topics to chat, but this one is interesting. I think this has been on the top. Now that a lot of things are happening on AI, a lot of people started saying that you can write content, SEO is just a breeze. Looks like Google just pulled people, unexpected here. So why don't we talk about, the recent update from Google?
Sure.
Right? And what do you think? What do you think? Is it something good, or is there something you didn't expect? Let's talk about it.
Yeah, that's a great topic to start with. So with that, this is yet another episode of Reset to Zero, and Sri and I like to talk about various things. Today he's picked it up to say, hey, he wants to grill me on SEO and what my take on that is. I think Google wants to keep the internet sane.
Okay.
Right? With its larger vision of making data available. When you want to make data available, you better have the right data available. You better make it relevant for people, right?
Okay.
So Google pulling the plug on a variety, and Google has always been notorious for this. I say notorious as well because even in last so many times we've always come back with, hey, there was a Google update and then we fell down in rankings. That's the.
See, I've been hearing this for the last 20 years.
So you can understand, right? That,
right. Every time I go to somebody who's doing SEO right from the last 10 years or even before that, the only thing I will basically heard all through my life is that, hey, if I can get some traffic, more traffic, the answer is that, hey, Google just changed something now. It's correct. It's much harder than what you think. Now, is it the same thing or is it different?
It is the same thing. It's the same thing. This time they've as any other company would, they have the lens of AI there.
Okay.
See, why does Google do this? We have to go back and understand, right? What do I mean by saying that Google wants to keep the internet sane?
But Ramesh, sorry, before you say why it's happening, can you tell what happened?
So Google had a core update.
Yeah.
And as usual, a lot of websites dropped in ranking. For its change, a lot of websites have also said that, hey, I am now on top of the rankings as well.
Okay.
And there's only one reason why this has happened. It is because of the quality of content.
Okay.
Right? When they feel that the quality of content is poor,
okay,
they have pulled it down. So think of it, right? You have an SEO team inside every company.
Okay, inside or outside?
Inside or outside, right? And SEO is like a core part of any company that has a website and you're publishing content on it.
Okay.
why do you have this SEO team?
Mm.
We kind of almost sometimes forget that it is a content that presides over everything. So why call it the SEO team and not the content team?
Okay.
Because we as companies are trying to work along the algorithm of Google in saying, hey, Google lists pages on top if it has, and you create a checklist, you create an audit, you create everything.
Okay.
The artifact behind all of that is the content.
Okay.
Right? If you have really good content, then there's no way that you're going to get pulled back.
So interesting, right? So you're saying it has to be good content, right? You said use the word quality. What you're saying is that high quality content
Yes.
is what is Google looking for.
Yeah.
And it's trying to penalize anybody who's basically not giving high quality content, which is not useful for the user.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what I would put.
Absolutely,
in a simple
right?
word. But it's also interesting to see, right? Ideally, people using AI or the LLM models or the ChatGPT of the world, shouldn't they be generating like better quality content? Isn't like kind of an oxymoron in that say where people start using more AI to generate content, and now the Google God is saying that, dude, your entire content is poor. So isn't like, are you even asking questions about how people use AI or the quality of the content generated by AI? Is what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's like fundamental question to be asked here, right? We probably haven't really learned how to use these tools, right?
Let's take a step back to understand what does quality of content mean.
Yeah, that's
AI is not here to disrupt every piece of work that you do. At the end of the day, Gen AI is all about the prompts that you give. So I don't think Google is, in my opinion, this is just my honest opinion, I don't think Google is going to diss any content written by AI as long as there is clarity.
Of course.
Right? What is this content for? Right? If it's coming up on the search engine, if someone is clicking it, is it a clickbait or does it really have the information available in the page?
And that's a very interesting point.
How many clicks does it take for the user to get to the information that's been put up in the title of the SERP?
So you're saying
search engine results page.
So Google will look at would also keep the engagement on the content as an important parameter.
Absolutely. First, hey, if I say high performer solves all your social problems, right? If that's the description of the page and that's coming on the, let's say, the first position in the search engine results page, and I don't talk anything about what the problem is or what the solution is, and I just go about ranting about how do you increase your presence on social, it's disjointed.
Okay, and just throw keywords, right?
Yeah, and you can't keep throwing high performer or problems or solutions. All that is bad. So over a period of time, I think SEO people, no offense to anyone out here, we've begun to work for the algorithm than laying the importance of Google. Now, I think what's also happened is ever since March last year, with the rise of Gen AI, everyone just thought, hey, we can really take content to a different level by publishing n number of pages. And we've done that as well to a large extent. But fact of the matter remains that if it's good quality content, it doesn't matter if it's Gen AI created or not. Obviously, you and I or anyone reading any kind of content, we can now, if we can understand what's Gen AI generated, I'm sure Google can.
No, I think, Ramesh, you're kind of giving an amazing point there, right? I think probably we got so excited about the ChatGPT of the world and used it to generate more quantity than better quality content. I think maybe that's what has happened. And that's the reason they're seeing like 30% ding or 40% decrease in the traffic, because everybody has increased the number of pages. People who used to, I think, create, let's say, 10 pages per month,
are now doing 30 pages.
Now they're saying that I can do 30, 40. I've heard even people generating 100 pages per month. But what has happened in the process is that it doesn't matter, the tool which you use, but if you don't emphasize on quality, right, and if you only emphasize on quantity of the pages, right, I think the Google will know what to do.
Absolutely. I think it's important to call out and also give a reference of why we are talking about it today, right?
Interesting.
Because we had a lot of traffic. We ramped up very well in terms of traffic.
Amazing traffic,
And, the traffic that got us to the signups was one of our core artifacts, like core products, which is free tools. And we have 50 free tools and we have pages for all of them. We were doing extremely well. Come this update, tank. we just came down, right? We lost 30% of our traffic. But there is a lesson that we've learned, which is, hey, let's not just write for content for Google. Let's write it for the users.
Yeah, and also most important learning is that in the process, if you overemphasize on the quantity and compromise on the quality, I think there is definitely somebody, to keep your guarding rails, right?
Very true. But if you have the ability to generate quantity as well, and if you have a good set of writers, I think we should.
Yeah.
There is no reason why we should not drop our guard down on quantity.
In fact, very true. In fact, we have few pages which are completely generated by AI, which are still ranked on the top, right? But there are few pages which were basically written by people, and the combination of AI, which had a bad quality content, not engaging, have come down. So in fact, Google really doesn't. It's not scouting for content written by AI. It's only scouting for content which is high quality and engaging.
Right.
Let's
give an example. Right?
Yeah.
So, Sri, we had a YouTube downloader as a free tool, and a lot of people who came to YouTube download their videos, came in and also signed up for a product.
Correct.
Now, can you just tell us and the viewers what the difference that you've seen in terms of quality?
Yeah, I think,
and how do you define quality going forward?
In fact, so that's what we try to figure out, right? When the traffic started coming in, right? When we looked at the quantity, the quality of the page, the quality of the page was not engaging. It really didn't
what does
tell
engaging
me.
mean?
For example, it doesn't even tell me what is the use case of using the downloader. We all think that the downloader is only used for the unnecessary reasons, right? That's what we think. But when we went back and looked at the kind of videos
or anything,
the kind of videos people are downloading, for example, during the examination season here, the 10th and 12th examination, we could see that people are downloading, the question papers, videos. In fact, I had to also take one and give it to Adesh, right? So people are downloading the videos. People are actually downloading, the music to maybe listen during the period of their travel. People who are maybe doing the camping. I saw few videos which are downloaded for the recipes to make bread.
There you go.
Right? It's a 2 minutes video. I'm sure they are basically doing a camping somewhere where there's no internet.
So where did quality go for a toss here?
So for example here, none of these is actually captured in the page. The page only talks about keywords sprinkled across every alternate line. Right? You could use AI in the bad way. End of the day, it's a tool. It's like a knife. Right? You could use it to basically make a recipe for your food. I think you can actually cut your apple, or you can also use it for a different place where you can do a bloodshed. Right. Either of that is possible, right? It's a knife. So if you use it the right way, and there's another page which had the similar content written, but had use cases clearly called out, and that page didn't go down.
There you go.
Right? But the YouTube downloader, we thought we were going to make 100K traffic over a period of 3 months. We just started putting keywords. We compromised the quality of the content.
Right.
Maybe as the result, the content was not engaging. People came there, they just bounced off. Right? I would say the metric which Google looked at is the same for the last 20 years.
Absolutely.
It is the bounce rate.
Yeah.
That's pretty much that's about
engagement of the bounce rate. So,
right? I mean, that's what I would say.
If you had to codify what quality means, because writers need to kind of have some, I think first, every writer out there, content writer, should know what the product is about in this system.
Correct.
In this use cases.
Use case. So the use case is the right thing. End of the day.
What does the product do for our use case that we want to promote our product for? Because like you said, knife can be used for cutting apples or for killing someone. But what is the product, our product being used for?
Correct.
Second, I think we should talk about use cases. What are the different ways that you could use our product for? That is the third. Second is, how are we making it useful? We don't want to, no one wants to give basic information that you can download a video using our YouTube downloader. Correct. That is just a parent. But it's more important to understand when do you kind of do it.
Very true.
Right? And what else can you do along with high performer tools that we have, right? So I think the use cases comes across as very clear when we have to put out content, and use cases that we want our audience to know of. Not
very clear.
Not the use cases that others are writing for.
Yeah, and also, Ramesh, one more, I think we discussed that. I think it's an important point to also bring it up here, is that, see, when you look at these AI tools, right, a lot of these AI tools, because of the current trend, somebody will pick it up and they will be able, they will have it listed in the directory, and your traffic will go up. And we probably tend to assume that that's the traffic coming because of it is coming off the Google organic search. Probably not, right? So everybody would want to sign up for your product, but understand the most important thing is that does it really solve a use case? That's the most important thing.
Interestingly,
There is like tons of directories of AI which is going to list your tools. The moment you say AI, and you're going to see a lot of people coming in looking at your product, but they are not going to be the one who's going to buy your product, right? So don't get also, there is this whole illusionary traffic coming with all the AI sites have millions of traffic. So it doesn't mean that will translate into business, correct? That's another important factor. I know it's not related to the Google thing, but this all comes together. We all think that, hey, this whole AI thing is a wave. End of the day, this thing is just proving that it's just another tool.
correct.
And historically, we have not been great at using the tools the right way, right? If you look at all the SaaS companies today, they use like 200 tools.
Correct.
Right? And if you go look at it, 60% of them are not being used.
That's a very interesting point.
So I now have I'm afraid if this AI also wouldn't be in that category where we just look at it, we use it, we try to play with GPT, use it for all possible things we use.
Yeah.
And we forget it because it sometimes doesn't give you what you want. We are not patient enough, to use it. And then
interesting
move on with it.
There is a
Right?
AI writing company tool, which is right after the update, have come out with a new campaign to say, hey, let your content not come across as being written by AI. And this is an AI tool, right? No, but they write your pages with context and not with AI. So, and this is an AI tool. So,
Very true. In fact, it is not even about AI, Ramesh. It is about how we learn to use a new tool.
Yeah.
Right? That's the problem. If we don't get quality content, which is engaging, like exactly said, focus on the use case.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't matter whether it is a content related by somebody, because Google has been doing this forever. Right? It always penalizes content which is bad quality, non-engaging, useless. When you put the keywords, now it's easy to find the keywords which I have to optimize for.
Absolutely.
Immediately, I basically kind of put things.
Having said that, SEO definitely has a purpose.
100%.
Content is right at the core of it, right in the center of it. And what surrounds it is, how do you give yourself a better chance to rank?
Yes.
What that means is you have a content strategy. What are pillar pages? Now, you can't have pages all over. How do you stack them in classifications that make sense?
Interesting, Ramesh. In fact, I want to kind of dwell that. Right? Now that you said this is a problem. Now, with AI being around, it's easier. We all believe that it's easy to generate content.
Correct.
But this whole Google thing, has made it clear that, hey, the content still is important. Doesn't matter, how you generate it.
Yes.
Now, you being somebody who's going to generate a lot of inbound traffic, right?
Yeah.
What is your structure of doing this? Now with this, all the tools, all the methods of doing this, how do you want it to structure it? Can you just give a playbook on, if I'm sure you're already doing that, do you want to share the playbook of how you will go about creating this whole content?
Right.
Like where will you place an SEO? And then I want to dwell deeper into really understanding what is the role of SEO also, right?
Absolutely. I think, I'll start from
just give us a kind of a playbook.
From the
right?
kind of problem statement every SEO manager goes through.
Okay.
Right? So I've been an SEO manager and I have managers who manage other SEO people. So it's very, very difficult, right? The job of an SEO person is extremely difficult because on day one, you say that X content gets indexed and it's up on the top. You're very happy. On day two, if it gets indexed, then you're thinking why there's no traffic. Then there's another keyword. If it comes down, then you go back to why is it not ranking. On the fourth day, can we write X number of content so that we can support this content? The SEO manager's life is always hell. Right?
Yeah, Ramesh.
And I'm just going to empathize with all of you there. But having said that, I think the question is how do you organize yourself to ensure that the focus is constantly on the content?
Okay.
Is the core remains the same, right? You have pillar pages.
Okay.
Pages that actually define what this piece of the product is going to do. And then you surround it with other pages that support the pillar page. Let's take an example of our own product.
Yeah.
So if I were to say high performer publishing, right? And if we're going to write a pillar page for what is publishing, how do you publish it? The surrounding is how does social media companies like social media platforms like LinkedIn help in publishing, right? So how do you publish to that? Then how do you publish to, let's say, Twitter? That could be one example. How do you make publishing easy, right? How does publishing help in getting better content? Like, what's the use case for a social media manager to say that, hey, using high performer AI, you can publish at a faster speed.
Okay.
Right? So these are all, but the core remains publishing.
And you call this as the SEO strategy.
This is SEO, content strategy.
Okay, and this is the SEO content strategy.
Correct.
And who is responsible for this? This is responsible for the SEO manager.
This is responsible. Now, if we go back and say, I want all these surrounding pages also to be on the top, it's not going to be possible. So you got to remember that the pillar page is your core. Publishing, you want high performer publishing to come up on top.
Okay.
And you keep the focus there. And you keep saying, okay, how much traffic can we add more? How many clicks can we get to that page for this publishing page to remain on top? Okay. You don't want to get that down.
So you would rely on an SEO manager to analyze this and come back with this whole
content
keyword cluster, how they connect with each other.
Right, that's one.
And then the page. So this is basically
part
SEO.
one. This is
just part one.
This is just part one.
Okay.
This is the strategy around how the content is going to be written. Okay. Obviously, the second part is once you figure this out, you're going to give it to your content writers to say what kind of content you want to start with. There is no one end to SEO, right? You say these are your first pillar page and these are the surrounding pages. These are the cluster pages. Let's start writing. Once you do that, it comes back to this SEO person to say.
So which means that the SEO, I just want to look at kind of the dots here. So SEO manager would look at your keywords, would understand the product you're publishing. In this case, the high performer, the publishing is a product. It's a key
pillar page
you want to drive traffic for. He or she will go analyze and understand the competition, I would say.
That's one way,
And they would also look at the other pages written.
Correct.
And they will come with a structure of the whole keyword cluster.
Correct.
And they will identify the pages to be done.
Correct.
If I understand correctly.
Absolutely.
Now, what you're saying is that these pages which are identified, which are prioritized, it actually sounds like a product manager. He would do the product, prioritization
I can see that coming out of you.
And then you say that it is being given to a content team.
Right. Now, content writer focuses less on SEO, but on the use cases of the product. How what are the ways in which you can use it, puts a story around it wherever there's needed, examples of how it can be used, comparison with competitors. Okay. All of this is written, right? So the whole set is done for the pillar page and for the cluster pages. Now it's ready. It's not yet ready to be on Google, but it's ready to come back to the
SEO manager again.
To say what is the technical details that needs to be written for each of these pages. So for example, the title.
Okay,
right?
Meta title.
Sometimes, when you give it to content writers, you could get a very journalistic, feel to that, right? Very, very, it's not directly intuitive that this page belongs to this. So the SEO manager would say, hey, I'm going to change this to a heading that reflects what people are asking for, or based on the query. Right? People on the query. The query and the title need to match.
Okay.
And then you have to have a description.
Okay.
And then it goes to saying how many times are we repeating, so that is there a question and answer pattern to the writing? Because then there is a knowledge graph that you have.
So the SEO manager does this magic
for the probability for that page to rank. That's all. No one knows that this is going to come. This is the magic potion, and then you pour it on and then it ranks. It doesn't happen that way.
Okay.
Once that happens, the SEO, and then it's uploaded onto the CMS.
Okay.
And SEO takes time.
And it's also iterative, I believe.
It is iterative. I have not yet come to the iterative portion. Okay. Now, here is where we put
the pages
on. We wait and watch at least for 3 to 4 weeks.
Just like a fishing.
So you got to wait and see. Is traffic coming? You will definitely see. Google itself takes about 10 days to crawl the same pages. With the bots to crawl the pages. So that happens. Once it starts, you start getting traffic to month 1, month 2, month 3. It doesn't mean the content is great. It is probably become stale. By the time there are others in the same space that have better content, and that's taking over.
Right.
Think of it as an F1 lap race. It just goes on and on and on.
Okay.
And there's someone else who's fueled up, now ready to take off, and they're going to overtake you and come up there. It doesn't mean your content is bad. You have to optimize that page.
Okay, what if in the first place, when I did that, I had a very strong competition, right? And I didn't show up in the first page. What would happen then?
So the first page is a very ambitious, thing to have, right? Did it come on the first page? It will come. There are a lot of other parameters, right? How old is the domain? The domain is like wine. It takes time to age, and then once it ages well, it comes up. So I don't think anyone should be necessarily bothered about, bringing it on to the top first 3. As long as it's increasing, it can start from a 40, move to 20, move to a 12.
Right.
But it may get stuck at 12 for a while. It's perfectly fine as long as you're getting traffic.
So what you're saying is that you give it time and it'll start showing up.
It will show. But you have got to go back and optimize the page.
So you want an SEO manager to keep an eye on this.
Yes.
If it is your key page, if you think that's
a pillar page,
it's your pillar page, it's a responsible SEO manager to take 3-6 months or whatever time required. But ultimate goal is to get it on the first page.
Absolutely.
Right? And then probably get on the top 3.
What does it take for it? Maybe then start adding FAQs. You wouldn't have put that in the first tranche. Then you start adding essay. Then you probably want a video because there is more engagement happening. You're not ready with the video at the time of this page going live for the video. Then you kind of change the order a little bit because what comes on the top may not be as useful and stuff.
Interesting.
Purely, and you have tools for those as Hotjar or whatever that kind of look at how people.
So this is going to be like a 1 step forward, 2 step backward.
It will be. It will be. You're absolutely right.
So I thought product managers was the most frustrating job, but now looks like you picked up one more role. Right? SEO manager is equally frustrating job.
But for that matter, SEO people also have it easy because they're not. At the end of the day, they can always
they can say
Google, right?
Wow. And that of course.
But having said that, I think it's a very interesting piece. SEO is here to stay, right? Anything people are actively